Yo, what's good, Spirit Squad? Today we're going to do some gameplay for the Merfolk deck that we just went over last week on our expanded deck tech. If you want to link to that video and see what Merfolk is all about in modern these days, check the card above your head. But, well, I guess my head, your screen. Either way, not cutting that out. We're going to be playing some Merfolk. This is going to be short and sweet because we've already explained how the deck works and all of the cards in it. So, I'll simply see you for round one. Today's video brought to you by FusionGamingOnline.com, your one-stop shop for all your gaming needs. All right, welcome to round one. We are on the play. That's exciting. And our hand is not necessarily good, but it is playable. Like, I'm on the play. I've got Lords. I've got Sveloons to follow up, provided I draw one more land, and a Subtlety to pitch an extra Sveloon in case shit gets real. So I'll be pretty excited about this. And we just saw a Devourer of Destiny get exiled, which means we're playing against Eldrazi. That is especially good for Subtlety, but if we manage to draw a copy of Harbinger of the Seas, that card is pretty lights out in this matchup. So they exiled All Is Dust, Trinosphere, and Devour. Okay. Unfortunately, no one drop. That would have been really good here. So we did draw the land that we wanted to see about last time. So that's actually really good. This means that I can Hexcatcher, Subtlety, and I've got the land guaranteed for this Sveloon already, and we're playing against the Tron version of this deck. Noted. A card to look out for with this mana setup is what is it called? Kozilek's Command? And I think that's what's being cast right now, as a matter of fact. So this card's actually really good for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's got 4 modes. You get to make Eldrazi Scion tokens, or do negative target player scries X and draw a card. Okay, so they're going to choose mana and scrying. They could have exiled a creature mana value X or less, or exile cards from graveyard. Do I want them to accelerate their mana by 1 for the sake of my keeping my Hexcatcher in play? No, I'm going to let them get their 1 mana for their 0/1, and I'm going to let them scry and draw 1. I think those are okay. I'm already holding the Subtlety. I've got a Sveloon, so I've got stuff to do. You're a little late. Don't really want that. So I'm going to just go ahead and cast my Sveloon and attack with my Hexcatcher and be pretty happy about the fact that I have Subtlety and the ability to pitch this extra Sveloon to it. And if I manage to draw like a Harbinger, I'm pretty happy about that. If my turn is reduced to just playing Master of the Pearl Trident and Aether Vial, that doesn't even make me sad. So they can pitch this to go look for, I don't know, like an Ogun's Labyrinth or something. That's fine. That doesn't super worry me too much. Urza's Tower. Okay. So I still want a Harbinger or even a Tide Shaper. I'd be really happy about either of those. Sink into Stupor is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, attack, draw with my Sveloon. That's always exciting. And it's another Master, which I don't particularly want here. I also want to use my Sink into Stupor. Do I want to use you as a spell? I do want to use that as a spell. So right now I'm doing the thing, right? Like, I've got Subtlety in hand, Sink into Stupor, so I can guaranteed respond to 2 good spells right now. So I don't think I need to, like, you know, fuck around and find out, if you will. So let's just go ahead and use this on here. And I would like to ideally draw a land in the next 2 cards for this hardcast Subtlety, or they're just going to pack it up. That plays too. So against this deck, I want just Tidebinders, and I don't really want Flare of Denials. So this is a deck that plays 4x Cavern of Souls, so Flare of Denial is just like not that good here. I think I do want to keep everything else though. Yeah, I'm not touching anything else. This hand isn't bad. So I've got a couple of 1-drops, I've got a Sveloon, I've got a Tidebinder, and while this isn't necessarily the most exciting hand anybody's ever drawn up, this certainly isn't bad. A Sveloon number 2. Don't really want Sveloon number 2, but in case I manage to draw something again, like a copy of a, words are difficult, like a Tidebinder or something, or I'm sorry, Harbinger of the Seas, or a Tide Shaper, then Sveloon to help recover cards after that will feel pretty good. So what is this, a Matter Reshaper? Oh, okay. That's unfortunate, but it's going to happen. So good night, little Dockhand. And the draw is Aether Vial. Aether Vial, you, little sir, are incredibly late. Anything after turn 1 is incredibly late. But I do get to play both that and the Dockhand number 2, so let's see if that actually manages to help us do something relevant or good. Power Plant, so they've got 4 mana. That means a Thought-Knot Seer is probably coming down here. If they take my Tidebinder with Thought Not Seer, then I suppose I'm not the happiest about that. Oh, okay. So it's another Kozilek's command. So they're going to go ahead and scry 2, then draw 1 this time. So they're basically just preordain plus kill this, which certainly doesn't suck as far as plans go for them. Let's see if I can manage to draw something to fuck up one of these lands, because I was going to say, because I really do not want them to have access to Tron right now. So, oops. So I'm going to cast my Tide Shaper with the kicker, and I'm going to get rid of Power Plant and Mine. I'm going to get rid of the Mine. I am much more scared of Tron developing this turn than I am of that Eldrazi temple, even though the temple isn't exactly nothing. If they have a... Okay, so there's a Thought Not Seer. Still don't necessarily appreciate that, but this is still infinitely better than dealing with Tron lands and, like, I don't know, blanking this. I'd rather them not have 4,500 mana. So they're probably going to take the Tidebinder because they can't cut me off of Sveilun completely. No, they're actually taking one of the Sveiluns. Well, consider me surprised. All right. So now we're going to go ahead, put our Aether Vial up to 2, and see what comes of that. Another Tidebinder. I actually like the second Tidebinder. So now if they decide to start doing a bunch of stuff and trying to participate, they expect the first one because they already saw it with the Thought Not Seer, but they have no idea that a second one might be coming soon. So if I get to just like, oh, I can cut this completely off of mana. It's not an artifact, so it doesn't stay shut off, but this will cut them off of the ability to use Saga for mana, period. It doesn't cut them off of the constructs though, which is annoying, but I am still going to do that. Okay, so there's a Karn. So I can't really do anything with Karn and Aether Vial, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But I will appreciate if I draw an Island Walk Lord. I could attack Karn through the Thought Not Seer if I draw any of my 6 lords. I can also just draw, what? A Dismember sounds okay. A counterspell for this coming up copy of Ensnaring Bridge they just got. Aether Vial does not necessarily fit that bill. So I think I am going to sacrifice my friend, the Mutavault, to the gods here. So I'm going to go ahead and attack into the Karn here. If they kill the Tidebinder, so be it. Okay, so they are going to go for the Mutavault. Karn's dead, which is good for my Aether Vial. So I'm just going to go ahead and cast the other one now. So now let's see if they're going to do something else that I'm kind of terrified of here. This will get them the ability to make a construct, but it still doesn't make mana. Yeah, like this card does not make mana. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my Sveilun now, which is nice and indestructible. Let's see if she survives. Yeah, you got it. Honestly, pretty obnoxious, but it is what it is. So we're going to keep our vials on 3 and 1. Hopefully hopefully I don't just draw Subtlety to make that seem like an absolutely terrible idea. I am unfortunately stuck just passing here, I believe. I want to keep my Otawara in case I draw a running couple of things to like make that work. Okay, so what's happening? Are we making a construct here? They are not making a construct. They're just looking to use their mana for something else. Now I feel like I should have played this because I can flash in Tidebinder. That may have been a mistake. Let's see if they get something other than Pithing Needle. If they get Shadow Spear, then I don't know, so be it. I already can't stop that. Sure. Expedition map. Okay. And they found the Tron land anyway. So they have 7 here. All is dust. Well, that doesn't suck at all. All right. Yeah. Can't do much about that. So I'm going to take 4, go down to 16, and I am just going to untap after this. I'm not going to get cute with the Tidebinder or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and put our vials up to 2 and 3, and there's another Tidebinder. Okay, so I can play 2 Tidebinders now, which is pretty dope, all things considered. And I think we're past the point where I really give a shit about this expedition map. They have, honestly, close to infinite mana. So if they pitch this, that's whatever. I'll let them look for whatever. They already have their mana set up. Blast Zone. That's annoying. So they can kill both of my Aether Vials if they want with that. Obviously, I've got the 2 Tidebinders, so like that's not going to happen, but it is still obnoxious the fact that we even have to like get here and think about this. So let's do that. Keep my vials intact. And that effectively shut down 2 actions, right? Because they actually looked for it too. What is this? Oh, okay. So I'm also going to Tidebinder the triggered ability of this too, because I want my other Tidebinder to live. So they have a 6/6, which is honestly pretty obnoxious. But at least it's just a 6/6 and not a, hey, guess what, buddy, you're dead. Are we resolving a 1-ring 2? All right, well, we can go to game 3. I don't think I'm beating all of these pieces. So what do I want to change, if anything? I think the answer actually just straight up nothing. Yeah, I'm literally just changing nothing. So the Tidebinders are pretty good. The Aether Vials are completely fine, especially on the play. The Subtleties are excellent if I ever see one. And double Harbinger with Vial and a bunch of things to do? Hell yeah, snap that off. We are absolutely keeping that hand. So we're going to land Vial and kind of just see what happens here. Okay, so there's Ugin's Labyrinth. The cool thing about the Ugin's Labyrinth too is that, oh, well, that's annoying. The cool thing about the Ugin's Labyrinth specifically is that my Harbinger will completely lock this card in there. They're just straight up not going to be able to really do anything about that. And there's a Subtlety, so that's also really good. This way, if they come at me with, I don't know, say a Thought Not Seer, I can probably just like Subtlety that, untap, resolve Harbinger, call it a day. And it looks like that might be what's about to happen here. You know what? No, what the hell am I talking about? I'm not going to Subtlety that. That's 2 cards. I'm just going to let them take a card, dismember it, or should I dismember with it on the stack in case they just take it? No, I'm going to let the ability resolve. And the way this is going to work is that I'm going to dismember before they have the option to take it, but that gives them a little bit better choice of what to take with the Thought Not Seer, because I'm going to draw and then their exile ability is going to resolve. So they're going to get to take one of these 3 cards guaranteed, and it's probably going to be the Subtlety. And it was, in fact, the Subtlety. Okay. So now I'm going to keep the Otawara in hand. I'm going to go ahead and play the Mutavault into the Harbinger. And, oh, that's actually pretty good. So now everything's an island, which means they no longer have double mana here. They're just having their 3rd mana come up on turn 3. So that'll be pretty good for me. I also have this Otawara, so I can go ahead and bounce something if need be. My Sink into Stupor is going to be really good. Tide Shaper is pretty good. So overall, really, no complaints. And I am going to play this Tide Shaper just as a 2/2 here. So now my Sink into Stupor can still stop something crazy. Like, I don't know, say if they want to resolve a Karn the Great Creator here, I can just say no to that. The One Ring. All right, well, that's something I don't want to resolve. But now if I manage to draw another stopgap spell here, I'll be pretty happy about that too. Another Vial is not a stopgap spell, so Jack, if you don't mind, a little more cooperation out of you. And I don't think there's any reason for me to do anything else here. I am obviously going to be a little bit sad about this One Ring resolving now. I can't do much about that, but simply is what it is. So I have to effectively skip the next turn of attacking, but the turn after, especially if I manage to draw a Lord, I'm feeling pretty good. I can also draw another counterspell like a Subtlety or a Sink into Stupor or something. Either of those would be pretty sweet here. A Hexcatcher counts. So I'm not going to play that though. I'm just going to let that rock and let them think that, hey, I'm just kind of big chilling here. So they're at 13. I'm currently threatening 10 damage. So let's see what they want to come up with. They have 2, 4, 5, 6 mana. Hopefully this isn't just like a Wormcoil engine. It's another One Ring. I'm going to let them have that. I hate that for me, but it is what it is. Expedition map is fine. If they have a basic, I suppose I will regret that at that point. But if they don't, then I'll worry about that when it comes up. So there's a Hexcatcher. Let's see if they respond with a Dismember or something. So Aether Vial can stay on 3. Not that there's any scenario in which I'm getting rid of this Pithing Needle here, but I will put the Dock Hand out as well. And now I'm pretty well insulated from something like an All Is Dust. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So they're going to lose 1, go to 12. Let's see if they have yet another One Ring here. If they're tapping 4, I'm pretty worried about... Damn it, they do. Opponent, please. Chill. That's enough rings. Just want to kill you. It's not that bad, I swear. Not even that dead, just like a little dead. Okay, so they're getting more lands out of their deck, presumably to make sure their All Is Dust is going to be more likely to resolve. That's most likely what's happening here. A Subtlety. That's really good. All right. Since I can't attack, there's no reason to do anything else here, but in their upkeep, I am going to use my Dock Hand now that it no longer has Summoning Sickness. Is that even correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I don't think I should do that because I want to be able to use my Subtlety. Let's think about that. If I Dock Hand now and they have All Is Dust, then I can get rid of All Is Dust by getting rid of exactly 1 creature. But if I don't use Dock Hand and they cost All Is Dust but not a creature, then I have to get rid of 2 creatures and I didn't get to use my Subtlety. I think I'm going to play around the All Is Dust. Yeah, because this way, if they do have All Is Dust, the only creature I have to sack is the Dock Hand itself. If they have another One Ring or something, like the fourth One Ring, then you got me, opponent. Seriously? Jesus. All right. Well, there's all 4 copies of the One Ring, so they found them. They, in fact, found all 4 rings. And if that's... Oh, a Trinisphere? I don't care about Trinisphere. Another Vial. Not great. So what do we have for a land situation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. That means if they play a land, they can All Is Dust, and I would have to sacrifice 3 creatures. Ugh, gross. But if I Dock Hand, then they only have to sack 2. That doesn't do anything. I think I'm supposed to, this time, just play for the Subtlety. Uggin's Labyrinth, okay. There's the All Is Dust, okay. Not happy about it, but it is what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and sack the Dock Hand. Let's actually make them pay the mana first. Okay. Now we get rid of Tideshaper. Don't love this. And I will get rid of 1 Harbinger. Okay, so at least this way I got to keep 2 of my creatures, and I am going to be able to put the Subtlety in play at end of turn to deal them 7 here. So this does something. And of note, they have not drawn any cards with this One Ring. So if I draw a Tidebinder, maybe that has some application. Another Harbinger. Okay, so they go to 4 here. Okay, so I am going to play another one of these and hope to God that their last thing isn't named another All Is Dust. If they have another All Is Dust, then we're pretty bad as far as situations look. But since they use all 4 One Rings, they could just die to a One Ring. Another thing to pay attention to as well. Since their One Ring is at 2 burden counters right now, even if they, I don't know, manage to like Ulamog all my cool shit, right? I still have access to this Mutavault if they kill both of my Harbingers. There's a Karn. Hate that. That means that we're probably looking at an Ensnaring Bridge here. And I can't really do much about that unless they cast something else first. If they cast something else first for some odd reason, then I can pop all 3 of my Merfolk, leaving Subtlety in play, and specifically getting rid of the Harbingers unlocks my Mutavault. So that is technically an out that we have to be able to kill them right now. Okay, they're going to get their artifact. Can't do much about that. No Tidebinder in hand. Elixir of Immortality. That's neat. Oh, they fucked up. They have a Trinisphere. Ha! Oh, that's funny. If they want to use their Elixir of Immortality, they actually have to pay 3 mana for it. And they just realized that. Oh, that's good. Well, GG's opponent. Let's move to the next round. Right, welcome to round 2. We are on the play. Heck yeah. So we're currently, I think, 2 for 2 on die rolls. Except a 1-lander's not really going to do it for me. So let's ship that. And this is way better. So 4 lands obviously is not optimal, but I will happily take a post-mulligan hand of, like, actually, no, I'm going to put back 1 Cavern like this. So a thing to notice, oh, it's Eldrazi again. Okay. A thing to know for this is probably that when you're doing your mulligans, because Sink into Stupor exists now, you probably want to actually keep more blue sources than non-basics in hand. So that's going to be a bit of adjustment from me too, because that's not going to be something I'm used to thinking about. So there's Power Plant, there's an Expedition map. Let's draw, I don't know, a Tideshaper off the top. That'd be pretty sick. Or I will take a Thought-Knot Seer, or not Thought-Knot Seer, whatever, Harbinger for next turn. So here I am going to just play this Master, and I'm just going to go ahead and curve out here because Power Plant, not Eldrazi Temple, tells me that they don't have the ability to make a copy of Thought-Knot Seer next turn. So I don't really have to worry too much about that. So I can just kind of go like 1, 2, 3 and be pretty happy about that. But I do still really want a way to fuck up their lands before they start doing really devastating stuff. And Subtlety's not bad. I don't know that I would call it good on this exact turn, but so I have a couple of options here. I can simply hold up this Subtlety by not playing Svelune, but then I'm really not progressing the board, and I definitely want to do that. So I'm actually going to play this Svelune and see if they either pop Expedition map, do something Tron related, and then maybe next turn. Oh, sheesh. Okay. Did not see that coming from these people. Okay. I want to put Svelune. Do I want to put her on the top or the bottom? Don't love that for me, but I actually think I want to put her on the top because I'm so low on cards. Okay, that is not something that was on my bingo card, not gonna lie. And they didn't even bother popping the expedition map, so they just have the tower? Well, that sucks for me. And there's a Devourer, there's my Master. Oh god, bad times incoming, understood. So now I'm gonna put the Vial up on 3, and that's the Svelune that I just drew. We knew about that already, that's not news. So this is going to be a pretty uphill battle, not going to lie. We've got 8 main deck ways to mess up their lands, and unfortunately I didn't draw any of them. So let's see what happens in this second main phase here, because they're going to have minimum 7 mana to play with. And there's a Null Drifter. I hate that for me. So they are going to have their 4/4. Luckily, I am going to get to kill it, but this is looking a little precarious, not going to lie. And now let's see if I can manage to untap without Svelune getting dismembered or something. That would be nice. And I will put up the Vial to subtlety level. Oh, that was nice, actually. So I do need to really worry about this 2-turn clock here because I'm at 10. But Mutavault was actually a surprisingly good draw too. So let's see if I can manage to cobble together a decent turn sequence or two here, but I really am getting outpaced by their mana. Like the double subtlety would have been super nice earlier. The first one, their subtlety really fucked me up. Oh my god. But I guess this is like, I don't know, like a blue Eldrazi Tron. And I will just take this 6 here and go to 7. I think and go to 4. I think I'm okay with exactly one more of these attacks. So now let's see if I can get to use the subtlety this turn. What the fuck is this? Ugin. That is absolutely a subtlety target. Now let's see if they want to... Nope. Okay. Cool. That's better than getting Ugined. And they're going to play a map. Okay. That's fine. Not doing anything about this. We're going to keep our Vial on 4 and draw an island, which is not necessarily preferable, but it's not nothing. So I'm going to attack with just Svelune. So if I attack with both of these and they manage to come at me with something like a, I don't know, just like a Dismember for this Mutavault here to get lethal through, I'm going to feel really stupid. So I'm just not going to walk into that. Instead, I'm going to survive for 1 turn and try to depend on the power of this subtlety in hand to do the job. Okay, so there's Ugin again, and this time I do have the ability to play around their subtlety by using the Vial instead of by using mana, so let's do that. Stop trying to Ugin me, please. I need to go around surviving, if you don't mind. Okay, so now we get to untap a Vial. Not great for me. So, how do we proceed? I think I'm just going to... Honestly, I'm probably dead here. If I attack with all 3 of these, yeah, I think I do have to attack them down to 6. And now let's draw like a Synchronous Stupor. A Harbinger. 2, 4, 5, 6. A Harbinger is actually pretty good. Question mark? Ooh. 2, 4, 5, 6. So upsides, downsides. A Harbinger does cut me off of Mutavault, but it also cuts them off of Ugin. So let's see if this resolves first before doing anything else. And this way, if they do something about my Harbinger here, like another subtlety, I can at least put this up to chump block. All right. Not the happiest about this, but let's see if we can manage to somehow survive. If they do attack, I'm forced to block and then Ugin post-combat. That's an option they have. Talisman. Okay, don't really care about the Talisman. It is double blue though, so if they want a subtlety, they can do that. So that's an option they have. All right. So here I am forced to block. Can't do anything about that. Sucks to be me. But if they Ugin here, what in the fresh fuck? Okay. What is this? A Kozilek's command? Oh, Lord of Atlantis. That's actually really good. Let's try it. So here, if they cast a subtlety, there's 0 I can do about that. But I'm gonna try to give myself a fighting chance here. So I'm going to put up all the creatures, and sick, we get the game. So against them, just like last time, I do want the Tidebinders. I do not want the Flare of Denials. I kind of want this Borrower, but what would I want Borrower in place of is the problem here. Yeah, I think it's just going to be a straight swap. I think I'm not going to fuck around with the Borrower. It's got some keywords for sure, and Petty Theft is good against like an... Oh my god, this hand sucks. It is good against like an Ensnaring Bridge, but let's look for a better... Come on, not like this. That's technically better. All right. So what do I not want? Probably both subtleties. Oops, that's a Svelune. Yeah, this hand's unfortunate. But if I draw running lands, then I will be pretty happy to have the ability to like, oh, hey, all right, that's a good start. So I'm not going to play the Tide Shaper because I can fuck up this mine. Instead, I'm just going to see if I have the ability to maybe dismember something this turn. And then if I draw another land on my turn 3, I'll be pretty happy to just, okay, that's obnoxious, but happens. But if I can like get to playing this, oh, sick. So I am going to take the damage. Let's pay 3 life, but I get to kick this now, playing around Mystical Dispute in the process and hopefully turning off that Urza's Mine. If they want to subtlety this, so be it, but they can't Mystical Dispute. All right, so now we're not really under danger of having Tron come at us at any point. And, ooh, that's nice. So if they exile a card, no, they didn't. If they would have exiled a card, then what the fuck is this? That's the One Ring. Okay. I don't enjoy that cosmetic choice, but the One Ring will resolve. All right, so let's untap. And we do not draw another land, which is unfortunate. I am going to pay the life. And do I want to play Svelune or Harbinger? I think I'm actually going to play Svelune here because there's not really any cool special lands for Harbinger to turn off right now anyway. And this also gives me the ability to next turn have Harbinger be uncounterable and Svelune be uncounterable instead of just one or the other. That's fine. I'm still going to put Svelune on the top. I think I still want her there. What did they pitch? Tidebinder. Okay. Tidebinder's a choice. I don't think I hate that from these guys, but that's a choice you're allowed to make. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana total. Karn, don't love that for me. What are we getting with Karn? An indestructible 4/4. That's neat. It's dead, but that's neat. Okay. All right, so here I'm also just going to play the Hexcatcher. Again, using my caverns as much as possible. And I am going to go ahead and attack the Karn with this. So obviously I'm not going to enjoy the fact that they get to still use Karn's -2 ability this turn if they really want to. But at least we are mounting some sort of defense against all of this nonsense. Okay, let's see what they're going to go fish. Undefinitely intended. A Walking Ballista for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so X is 3. So they can actually kill both of these creatures with that, and I'm not a fan, but I am more of a fan of this happening like this than I am of them being able to get rid of this Harbinger. So let's go ahead and untap. Another Svelune. Okay. So let's attack the Karn, see if they want to block or ping. They do want to block. Okay. Okay, and now I have a choice. They have Mine and Power Plant, so I should probably just cast Harbinger. If they have Subtlety Blue card, they have Subtlety Blue card. If not, then I really should work on these Tron lands, and I think that was the right way to go there. Okay, so now we've got a 2/2 Talisman thanks to the Karn. And they can fish out another card with Karn if they want. So I think what I'm actually going to do here, instead of casting my Svelune, is sink into Stupor this 2/2 and then see if I'm able to get rid of the Karn just regular attacking. So let's see if that resolves. They have, I don't know, Force Negation? That sucks. Sick. I'm going to try to kill Karn. They have their own sink into Stupor. Okay, that sucks. That sucks a lot, actually. I'm probably just dead now. I legitimately think we should just go into game 3. Yeah, we can go into game 3. That's fine. So on the play, I want to... I'm going to do this. I'm going to take out these Dismembers. I'm going to put in the Brazen Bower, and I don't think I'm going to go like full Kira or anything like that. But I am going to put in 2 of these Flare of Denials back in on the play. I'm a lot more likely to be able to cast Flare of Denial for mana when I'm on the play than I am on the draw. That's my reasoning there. And this hand is not good, but it is reasonable. They're going to take a Mole down to 5, which normally bodes good things, but remember we are playing against a Tron deck, so that matters a lot less than you think it would. Okay, so I'm actually going to start off on the Mutavault with the Aether Vial here, because next turn I don't have a very clear turn to play, so I would rather just attack with the Mutavault. Also, remember that the opponents are playing Subtleties, which means just like casting your 2-drops for mana might not actually be the most optimal way to go about it. I'm probably better off just using this Vial while the getting's good, you know. So let's do that. And I'm not going to worry myself about any petty theft shenanigans. I'm just going to try to get a little bit of damage in while the getting's good. And then next turn, I can play this other island, resolve my Sphaloon probably, and go from there. That seems okay. If I draw a reasonable 2-drop that I can use the Vial on, I'll be pretty happy about that. I will also take answers of Tideshaper or Harbinger with their 2 Tron lands on. You know, that's really good, actually. I am just going to keep my mana open for this Tidebinder. That seems like a way better plan now. Let's see what they want to do. Okay, nothing is the answer. I think I should actually deploy my Brazen Borrower. I do want to have pressure on board. I want to make them use a blue card if they have to use a blue card on this. And I have a 4th mana coming up for Subtlety as well. So yeah, all right. And there's a Tideshaper as well. Cool. So now I'm going to attack here. And let's see. I've got Subtlety with mana backed up by Tidebinder. That's pretty decent, even if they do something really scary like a Cast a Ugin, for example. What is this? Kozilek's Command. Okay. You get Munchkins and you scry and draw. That's fine. I can't do anything about that. They put the card they scry to the bottom. Okay. Honestly, this card's pretty dope. Like, just an instant speed Preordain in mono colorless deck seems, well, I guess blue Tron. But otherwise, the colorless deck seems really strong, actually. So there's a power plant. So they've got 4 mana here. That is a 1 ring. Okay. So I will not be doing anything about the 1 ring with that. Yeah. Let's see if they want to draw. I'm going to counter the draw, not the other part. But I am going to go ahead, Vial in Sphaloon. Even with the protection, remember that I'm still going to get to draw a card when I actually attack. So let's do that. I want my Vial to stay on 3. Sphaloon, Tidebinder, and Harbingers. Yeah, I'm going to keep my Vial on 3. Because, like, Harbinger especially seems pretty strong. Okay, so I'm going to stop this use my Tidebinder to stop this 1 ring from doing anything of note. No extra cards for you if I can help it. A Lord of Atlantis, that's pretty good for next turn. Yeah, draw my Sphaloon card. That happens whether they have protection or not. And it's a Mutavault, which is also a pretty good draw. So I am going to play the Mutavault, and I'm actually going to use the Tideshaper here because I don't want them to just have another Tron land in play. So I'm going to go ahead and tag this mine since it's the unique one and see how this goes from here. So far, I'm feeling pretty confident. Like, we've shut off their ability to make Tron this turn. We've shut off the 1 ring with the Tidebinder, and things have ward thanks to Sphaloon. If that wasn't bad enough for our opponents to deal with, I'm also holding a Subtlety. So let's hope that all of that is good enough to cobble us up a win. And I won't lie and say this Labyrinth doesn't scare me, though. That puts them up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana total. 7 if you include the Eldrazi spawn. And, ooh, I can't do anything currently about an All Is Dust? Ah, shit. Oh, no Drifter. Okay. They're going to draw the cards. I can't do much about that. Ugh. I do not like... Oh, wait. I have a fucking Lord of Atlantis. Yeah, that's fine. I just realized, I'm like, I have a Lord of Atlantis. What am I worried about? Untap. And I am going to put the Vial up to 4 now, because if I Lord of Atlantis and they want to... Sick. And they wanted to do the thing with Subtlety, then I was going to be able to Subtlety back. So that's neat. Everything but the Harbinger can attack here. And that's not lethal, right? That's only 14? Yeah, it's only 14. Unfortunate. So I'm going to do this. And I actually think I am supposed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I am supposed to Tideshaper the Ugin's Labyrinth as well. And that cuts them off of All Is Dust. Another 1 ring. I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. So they are going to get to pro everything. They are going to get to draw if they really want to, but they're at 1, so I have to assume they don't want to. And that makes sense. They don't have to block, so they may as well attack. Gonna get rid of what? I guess the Borrower. I'll just take 4 and go to 16. So now let's see if I can draw into something like a Sink into Stupor would be pretty nice. Another Vial is not really on the list of things I asked you for, deck, but that's fine. I guess I'll simply attack with my Sphaloon and draw a card. A basic island, also not really on the list. Okay, and I'm not going to play the Vial. I'm just going to, I don't know, let them use it as fodder for something like a Thought-Knot Seer or something. Okay, they are going to draw a card, which means they have another 1 ring. That's unfortunate. Not really enjoying how many One Rings chain into each other. Hopefully they don't do the thing like last round's opponent, where they do a One Ring and then just immediately have another. Like, I'm not going to do anything about a Talisman. I don't really give a shit about those. Oh, haha, they went out on their own terms. Nice. All right, well, 2-0 against 2 straight Eldrazi decks. So we're beating the really popular Ugin's Labyrinth stuff. Let's move on to the next round and see if we can't find a different deck. All right, round 3, we're on to play again against Straight Shade, which, well, hopefully that's not what you're throwing at me here. So I'm going to keep a hand with 2 1-drops, a couple of Dismembers, and a Subtlety. Yeah, all right. That is a fairly solid starting hand. Obviously, it could use an Aether Vial, but I'm not exactly going to complain about this. Opponent takes a Mull to 6. That tells me nothing. No companion revealed either. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and start off with my Rishadan Dockhand. I, of course, do not know if my opponent is going to be playing a land that I might actually care about for Tideshaper purposes, so we're going to simply save the Tideshaper. Temple Garden into what? Delighted Halfling. Don't love that for us. Okay, so I am definitely going to get rid of the Delighted Halfling here, but my assumption is that we are looking at... Oh, that's actually not bad. We are looking at the Nadu deck here. Okay, that's a pretty good start. And here I will go ahead and cast our friend Tideshaper, knowing that they are already a Bant deck, so cutting them off of blue is not very likely to do what I want it to do. But this is definitely going to be a game in which I'll really appreciate just having access to like 1 or 2 lords. That'd be great if those were my next couple of draw steps. If I can use Flare of Denial and or Subtlety for mana instead of having to use their alternate costs, that would also be lovely. But let's see what cooks up with this Flooded Strand here. Another Subtlety, okay. I think I'm going to just attack here. So I could have used my Rishadan Dockhand to try to cut them off of that Temple Garden mana whenever they untap. That puts them off of being able to cast Nadu for another turn. But I've got both a Flare Denial and a Dismember in hand, so I don't even know that that's necessarily the thing that I'm most concerned about. I don't love that they surveilled a card to the top with this here Hedge Mage, but let's see what happens. Wall of Roots, okay, that's fine. That I don't particularly care about. So let's see if they want to use this Wall of Roots to put in a Delighted Halfling or something. There's the Shuko, okay. I'm not going to do anything about Shuko by itself, but I am going to go ahead and Dismember you. Land? Not quite. But a Hex Catcher does not suck, so I will take it. So now I get to attack for 5 instead of 2, which is... Oh yeah, they played an island. I'm like, wait, 5, not 4. But yeah, they played a Hedge Mage, so our Tideshaper is going to grow a little bit here. And now I've got a 2-turn clock. They have to do something through 2 spells. And here I actually am going to use the Subtlety first. Mostly because I actually want to be able to use all of the power and toughness that's in play, so that, you know, they actually get dead in 2 turns. If I sacrifice one of these creatures, then I'm only looking at 4 damage on the board, and that's a 3-turn clock instead of 2 turns. So I want to preserve as much clock integrity as possible there. And let's draw a land so I can just hard cast this Flare. No? Okay. So we're going to go ahead, attack with everybody. You go down to 3. And post-combat, I will be using Tideshaper on that Temple Garden. That plays around any random removal spell type shenanigans they may have. I can't cut them off of green completely, so white it is. Okay, so here I will go ahead and get rid of my Dockhand for the sake of getting rid of Nadu, knowing that I am fully protected with my Hexcatcher as well. So there's game 1 against Nadu. Let's run that right back. That was great. So we want Tidebinders. I am not going to bother with the Chalice. Do I want to Brazen? Survey says... I don't want Harbingers here. Those don't really matter. And I think that's actually the only thing I really want here. I could Curse Totem, but them being on the play, I'm not exactly going to get to cut off their mana dorks or anything crazy. So I think I'm just going to let this rock as is. Well, this hand is going right back. This isn't as bad. It is real bad, though. Okay, this is, like, somewhat palatable. So I'm going to keep this hand. I'm going to put back one of... Let's see. Subtlety is not going to be good here. And I think I actually have to put back the Sink into Stupor. Yeah. All right. Basic Forest into Halfling. Okay. So if they just like have Nadu here, this could really suck. So I am going to play our island first, just on the off chance that I actually get to use Synchronous Stupor as a spell. But if they just like have turn 2 Nadu here, I currently can't do anything about it. I don't even have a Dismember yet. There's a Wall of Roots. I'm okay with that. Let's Hide Shaper. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, Cavern on Merfolk. And I want to do what? I think I'm supposed to just Tide Shaper here and turn that forest into an island. Not because I can cut off the colors, but because I want Island Walk. So my Lord of Atlantis will later be able to actually allow for Island Walk things, provided this Tide Shaper actually, you know, gets to survive and do stuff. Okay, so there's a green-white Surveil land. Let's see what they show up with. They put a Boseiju away. Got it. And this is actually kind of funny that this exact turn scenario came up here. Because remember that time I specifically mentioned that Curse Totem on the draw would not be that good. Curse Totem on this specific draw wouldn't have been so bad. Teferi. Can't counter Teferi. Thanks, Delighted Halfling. So now they can just like bounce my Tide Shaper, make me cry a little bit, and then play a 2-drop of some sort if they really wanted to. But it looks like they don't want to. Another Tide Shaper. Okay, so I'm going to play you as Soporific Springs. And I think I'm simply going to Tide Shaper and also Tide Shaper to turn off the white here. I don't think I pretend this is going to go super well, but this is not nothing. That Teferi being in play is a real problem though. Okay, so Teferi pluses, and we're doing something with the Wall of Roots. What are we doing? Oh, that just smells like Nadu. That's because it is Nadu. Let's see if they also have the Shuko. Please say no. There's a Misty. Don't really care about Misty on its own, but let's see what this gets. Another basic forest. What the hell wants 3 basic forests? Endurance? Oh, Chord of Calling. Okay. Chord of Calling X is 3. I can't do anything about that because of Teferi. Unfortunate because I have the Hex Catcher. I suppose I could have played the Hex... Yeah, all right. Combo established. So knowing that they're playing the core, I guess I do want the Curse Totems over 2 of these Tide Binders, and everything else I think I still just want to keep as is. No, I'll take the Brazen Borrower too, I guess. So they have 3 at least basic forests, so Harbinger isn't good either. Okay, yeah, this is fine. Ugh, this hand isn't. Okay, so this is a 2-lander. I've got the Synchronous Stupor, so this is fine. So I'm going to keep this, put back 1, or the extra Sphaloon, and this isn't that bad, right? Like, I get to curve out, hopefully, and, like, you know, Tide Shaper, Master, or Tide Shaper, Master, Sphaloon. So that certainly is a decent start, provided I draw any interaction. If they hit me with exactly Delighted Halfling into Nadu again, then, well, I'm sad about it, but I think this is going to give us the biggest chance to play a bunch of magic, which is really all we can ask for. There's a forest. Is it a halfling? It is in fact a halfling. Yikes. Hate that for us. Let's draw a Dismember. Nope, it's an island. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play the Master and simply start attacking and hoping for the best. Not really much else to say about that, right? Okay, white, green, and legendary with a Hallowed Fountain? Did they just like tap incorrectly for Teferi? That's gotta be what it is, right? Yeah, they just tapped incorrectly for Teferi. Since Teferi can't be countered, I can't do anything about it. Actually, what am I talking about? I already just can't do anything about it. So this isn't that bad though, because like now I can, in theory, attack Teferi, kill that, and then, oh, that's nice. Do I want it? Not this turn. So I have options. I can just resolve Sphaloon. I can Cursed Totem. I think I'm actually supposed to just resolve Sphaloon here. Let's think about that. But they also multi-5. If they multi-5, you know what? Let's go ahead and cast the Cursed Totem. And I'm gonna just not pay to life here, and then let's see what happens here. I think I want to do that for a couple of reasons. A, if they are really concerned about this and use a Boseiju on it, I will appreciate the extra land drop because I have 2/2 drops. That's not scary at all. So, okay, I was gonna say they're probably just attacking here, but I guess not. The Spring Heart Nantuko is pretty scary. Subtlety's actually pretty good for me too. So I'm not gonna attack with Tide Shaper this turn because I plan on just playing this Sphaloon. And this means I can Subtlety using a Master, untap Master while actually getting to attack. So that feels pretty decent. This is probably just like a Hedge Maze. That's exactly what it is. Okay. So now they're going to get all the 1/1s with this Spring Heart Nantuko. God, this card is busted. Absolutely not attacking into that. So now we get to see if I can just like, I don't know, get away with double master or something here. Oh, they're just going to play to Beseiju. We're not even worrying about Curse Totem here. That scares me a little. Is this the Nadu? Are we not doing it? Prismatic ending on my Sveloon. That sucks. Yeah. All right. Actually, how bad is that? No, that could have been a lot worse, actually, because I still get to just do double master. And while I'm really going to miss the card draw, I am going to appreciate the island walk without my prismatic ending, getting these. So let's see. I'm going to cast one of these because I still want to hold up subtlety. I don't necessarily know that that was better than just like either holding up all 4 mana for subtlety or just like double mastering and then saying fuck the subtlety for a turn. I think I could have just said fuck subtlety for a turn and taken shields down. That was probably right. Yeah, because now there are 11. They do have 2 cards, but neither of them are named Shuko or... Oh, never mind. I was going to say neither of them are named Shuko or Nadu. So I've got a little bit of work to do here, and they probably could have equipped one of the tokens and attacked, but not my problem. Now let's draw a blue card. That way I can hold subtlety anyway. Oh, wait. You're not dead, are you? 3, 5, 7, 9. 9 is not 11. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this and attack for 7 then. And now, since we have 2 masters and a subtlety, I'm a lot less worried about dying here. I don't want to go so far as to say that I think we've won the match, but subtlety with double unblockables is a pretty good start. And they do have a lot of insect tokens, but they're not really going to do our opponent much good here. So is there any reason to cast anything? I think the answer is no. Actually, no. Removal spell. Yes, there is a reason. So I'm going to go ahead and cast Master, holding up subtlety. That doesn't do anything. And I'm going to hold up subtlety because subtlety doesn't even counter. So Veil of Summer, if they have, like, I don't know, a mystical dispute, a Flare of Denial that can't be countered, that doesn't do anything. That's fine. So now I'm just going to attack for lethal and kill you. All right, cool. Hooray, we did it. All right, 3-0. Let's keep it going, yeah. Round 4 against Rainwalker. And we are exceptionally good at die rolling today. This hand is, yeah. All right, I'm in. So if I draw another blue source, these Synchronous Dupers are actually both spells instead of, right now, 1 spell and 1 land. So that makes me pretty happy. So we'll see if this Aether Vial resolves. It does. And now it is time to find out what the hell our opponent's cooking with. Island. Are we mirroring? We are mirroring. Let's go. Hello, Merfolk friend. Let's type Spider-Man meme. 2 dismembers. That feels pretty good. I'm still going to do it like this and hold out the hope that I'm able to use these Synchronous Dupers as spells. I also don't really want to be taking 3 damage, but let's see if they want to start casting shit with mana. Because if they do, I'll be pretty happy to start using my dismembers on their stuff. All right, so it looks like that's not that's not going to be what happens here. Words are hard. But I do want to put my vial up to 2. That gives me room for Master of the Pearl Trident, and a Flare of Denial is not bad. Not great, but not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and put up this Mutavault, and I am going to pay 3 life for the first one of these, though, because I still want to be able to dismember. Don't really appreciate the life loss, but that's okay. So I'm going to simply... Is that a Trickster? That is a Trickster. That's fine. So now they go to tap the Mutavault, and I'm actually going to use the Mutavault now for mana to kill off this Trickster. So we're kind of chilling now. Like 13 versus 20 is a precarious couple of life totals here, but I currently have the more developed Mutavault because I'm sorry, the more developed Aether Vial because I'm the one on the play. I've got the Mutavault set up here. I've got another Dismember in hand and a Lord to allow Mutavault to start attacking profitably. What's this? A Sveloon. Okay. I'm gonna dismember that too. But not this turn. I'm going to dismember next turn when I have the ability to pay for a Hex Catcher. But since you're going to do that, we're going to respond to the Aether Vial so that they can't put the Vodalian Hex Catcher in first. Now, Sveloon is more than likely just dead, and they have a sad face Hex Catcher coming in with nothing to do. It's a Master. That's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a Master of my own. And now let's untap. The only problem with this is that, remember that we, unfortunately... I'm actually going to keep this Violet too. We are already at 9, so nervous laughter, right? Ooh, how to get out of this. I think I'm going to cast this vial and hope that I'm not just dead. Because as of right now, I'm looking fairly to medium dead. They're also going to keep their vial on too, noted. That's a pretty common play pattern for these decks though. So here, if they just have like another Lord and then put up their Mutavault, I'm actually just going to pack that up. I'm okay with this. Let's pack that up. So now we're going to sideboard. I want the Brazen Borrower, and I probably want some number of Tidebinders. I don't want my 2 Lord of Atlantis, and I don't want Harbinger of the Seas. So what's another one of I can put in here? I guess 1 Kira. Yeah. All right. I'll put in 1 Kira. I'd rather have any like 1 Kira than even 1 Harbinger. Harbinger's pretty bad here. Like I could in theory have a hand where they have Mutavault on board and I don't, and then Harbinger shuts off their Mutavault, but like I don't want to plan on that. That doesn't sound like a good plan. I also don't particularly want Flare of Denials here either, but you can only take out so many cards. Double Cavern, Sink in a Super, Tide Shaper, Dismembers. Yeah, all right. This hand is honestly kind of excellent. So let's go ahead and name Merfolk, and where's our Swimmy boy? Here we go. So Tide Shaper is going to come hit the table, and with Hexcatcher, Master of the Pearl Trident as the rest of our creature base here, I'm feeling pretty okay about just an aggressive plan. I'm hoping to not take like 45 damage of my own volition. They have an Aether Vial. Okay. So I don't enjoy that. I also currently can't do anything about it, so it is what it is. So here I'm going to go ahead and play the Voldalian Hexcatcher first because I do want to give both of these creatures Island Walk next turn. So we're going to get an attack in while the getting's good, and depending on what happens over this next turn, I can either Master plus Dismember using this as a land, or I can deploy Sveilun with the intention of doing the same next turn. Okay, so that smells like a Trickster. Fine by me. If it is a Trickster, then I'm simply not gonna Tide Shaper or anything. Oh, you're putting something in for 1 now. So that's your own Tide Shaper, I assume? Are we Mistcaller? I don't give a fuck about a Mistcaller right now. Let's think. I think I'm going to simply move to declare attackers and give myself room to... Yeah, this is fine. Tide Shaper can trade with something. So if they want to like... What? Oh, because they don't have a whatchamacallit. Never mind. Oh, that's fine. Okay, so now that they've played around a second copy of Hexcatcher for me, joke's on you, I didn't have it, I'm going to resolve this Sveilun now, if you don't mind. So let's see what, if anything, they want to do about this. This is just a Trickster, that's fine. So the Trickster can tap Sveilun, that allows them to... Oh, that's fine too. I was going to say, and that allows them to have a reasonable attack next turn. But if it's just a Hexcatcher against this board, I don't really mind. I would love to see another land next turn untapped, like a basic island. Well, actually, maybe not a basic island. I will take another Cavern or Otawara. I specifically don't want a basic island here because all of my creatures can, or all of their creatures can still be blocked even if they have a Lord like this. Like, yes, you have Island Walk, but I have no islands. Okay, we're doing nothing about that. Understandable. Oh, look at that. Thank you, deck. So let's cast the first Master. I'm kind of in for just casting the second one and saying, fuck it. 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. What happens if they Trickster untap double Lord? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. If they have exactly Hexcatcher untap 2 more Lords, I think I'm supposed to make this their problem. I'm just going to make it their problem. So we're going to go ahead, draw the card. What's this? Sink in a Stupor targeting my Sveilun? Shana's Tidebinder to not let me draw a card. This also shuts off Sveilun's text, but Sveilun is still a Merfolk, so it's still a 6/7. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's not that bad. Not getting to draw the card sucked, but I'm not even close to dead on a crackback. I guess I'll get rid of the Tidebinder. It's the bigger creature, and I really do not care about Mistcaller. Okay, they're at 8. So now they gotta get me dead now. And I still haven't put an island on the table, so my stuff can still block their stuff currently. If they have a Harbinger or a Tide Shaper, I instantly can't block, but I'm also at 17 and I'm not really close to taking lethal either. All right, sick. So we're 1-1, and for game 3, I want to change nothing. Submit. This hand is super fucking mid. But it's got the vial, it's got something to do with 2 mana, it's got something to do with 3 mana, and it's got a responsive thing. I actively want to use this for 3 mana, not just like sacrificing a creature. So I think I'm supposed to very sad face keep this. Are you a creature? You are a creature. Okay. A subtlety actually feels like a really above average draw. Let's see if they want to Flare of Denial this. Honestly, since I have the Dismember in hand, I kind of hope they do. Oh, sick. So with the hand I have, Aether Vial doesn't even hold that much worth for now. Instead, I'm planning on using my mana for all of my stuff. So this is a Hexcatcher. Oh, shit. All right. That's really good. I should be playing that card. If I'm keeping it super real. So I'm going to go ahead and cast this Hexcatcher before they can start doing other stuff. But man, that Pilgrimage does scare me. Okay, so just Mutavault up, and if they attack with Mutavault, they are going to get a token. It is a non-token Merfolk, so that's a little unfortunate for me. This Flare of Denial could really be another creature, or even one of these. I might legitimately consider like putting some of those in this. So what do I want to do here? Keep up the Flare of Denial mana? Do I want to present Rishadan Dockhand as a 2/3? Let's present Rishadan Dockhand as a 2/3. And there's a 0% chance I'm blocking here, so I'm sorry, attacking into that hexproof blocker. So we're just going to go ahead and pass. If they want to Mutavault again for some odd reason, then I have Dismember, and that's going to feel pretty good. There's an Aether Vial. I'm okay with that. Are you just casting another Vial? That doesn't do anything on its own, except get Dismembered. I don't know what the hell was happening there. I'm gonna just keep it real. I have no idea what the intent... Oh my god. I might have a new plan. If I can Petty Theft this, and then counter it on the way back down, the likelihood of them just straight up getting to play the game is really low. I also am going to simply tap that island in the upkeep, and that will allow me room to untap with Subtlety mana. So let's do that. We're going to go full Death and Taxes mode here. Okay, let's see if they manage to draw another land. Looks like the answer is no. Ooh, opponent. A Mutavault's a great draw. I'm just going to not do anything here. Like, I have Subtlety, I have Brazen Borrower I can cast, and both of those are now including the fact that I can still tap down this one basic island. So we're gonna just do that. If they draw another land into Aether Vial, I will be pretty happy to Flare of Denial that. A Cavern of Souls is pretty good, actually. I'm gonna name Merfolk anyway. Do you have Summoning Sickness? No. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and attack with these holding up the Subtlety anyway. Yeah. Actually, no, I can attack with these because I have Flare of Denial. Yeah. Thinking. If I attack with just these, then I can tap and hold up Flare of Denial. If I attack with this as well, that is 8 damage and does not turn or change the turn clock. Okay. So now they're at 14. Sick. They're off it. All right, sweet. So looks like we are now getting ready to play for a trophy. I'll see you on this next round. Be sure to check out additional content from myself, Nikachu, the Commander Cookout, and others at themanabase.com. Oh, look at God. We are 5 for 5 on the die rolls. That is not a usual thing over here. Excuse me. Hand is, with the Subtlety as a bit of a time stopgap and a Harbinger to hard stop basically everything else, Land Vial here is actually pretty good. So I'm willing to gamble on this 6. If this were a basic island instead of a cavern, I think I'm a lot less likely to want to bet on my Aether Vial. But if I hit a couple of land drops here, an uncounterable Harbinger to seize could just be really good against a whole lot of decks. Flooded Strand, okay. So, opponent, if you could, what? Snow-covered island. Spyglass Siren. I no longer have any ideas as to what to expect here. This could be straight up anything. All right. Well, that was pretty good. So, yes, I will pay to 3 life, and I'm going to put in a Master of the Pearl Trident with this, or it doesn't actually matter. I'm just going to play a fucking Merfolk. It doesn't matter which one. I'm over here, like, agonizing over Lord versus Master when they're not playing Merfolk, so it just doesn't matter. If we were playing against Merfolk, it's absolutely the Master, never the Lord of Atlantis until you're actually attacking for lethal. Is this just like... It is. Okay, this is just like Nadu with stuff. And now every time they hit a land drop, they can make another Spyglass Siren. That's fine, I guess. I don't really care about that too much. Untap. So now I can put my Lord of Atlantis into play. Let's draw a land for Harbinger. Let's not tell the truth. Understood. I want to simply deploy my friend here and Vile in this one. I do in fact want to be Vile. So we're going to go ahead, attack for 4, take them down to 13, and that's 11 currently. So if I actually draw another Lord this next turn, that's straight up lethal. So yeah, let's do that. Let's present lethal. Misty is fine. I don't really care how many tokens you get. That's fine. You can have all the Spyglass Sirens in the world. Unfortunately, opponent, that is not going to be a very productive use of your time. But having random removal, on the other hand, if you could not do that, I'd love that. Icefang Coatl, good to know. Not relevant in this game. They're not blocking anything, but still good to know. Oh, I just realized they went down to 12. I'm still looking at 11, not 12. Okay. So I am going to put this up to 3. A Cavern. Does that do anything for me? Not particularly. So let's Merfolk. Attack them down to 1. Specifically 1 is also really nice because it shuts down any hope of dealing with fetch lands too. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Vile to put in this Harbinger. That plays around them potentially having subtlety. And let's see what you can do through my subtlety without being able to use your white land or doing really too much of anything. Hopefully. That's the idea. That I don't care about at all. They found another Spyglass Siren. That's kind of whatever. Hooray. So now against this deck, I want a bunch of Tidebinders. Against this specific build, I think I want the Brazen Bower. Is that true? Let's think. And I think we established that we kind of want the Curse Totems. They saw Harbinger and have a bunch of basics in their deck, and I think we took out some Flare of Denials. That sounds right. No, I think I'm just going to run it like this. I don't think I'm going to play the Brazen Bower. I'm going to take out exactly 2 of the Flares, put in a bunch of Tidebinders and some Curse Totems, and see if the combination of like free interaction plus shutting off Mana Dorks and the Stoneforge Mystics Cauldron Complete does it. That's probably close to good enough, if not actually good enough. And then once again, Curse Totem shutting off specifically the uncounterable part of whatever the hell the 1-drop is called, Delighted Halfling. Seems okay. This hand is like super sketchy. I don't like it on the draw. I'm gonna mull. This is way better, not close. So I'm gonna keep this, and I'm gonna put back the second Dismember or the Flare. Which is it? I think I'm gonna put back the Flare. The second Dismember can definitely solve a problem. With Flare, I'm not even guaranteed to get a second blue source to even do this, let alone actually casting it for mana at any point. So I think I'd rather just do this. And they put whatever that was on top of their deck, which is a little scary, not gonna lie. Oh, hey, let's go. So I'm gonna put Mutavault into play. And I understand that that prevents my ability to put Lord of Atlantis in on a potential turn 2 land draw here, but I think I'm more okay with it like this. If they just go like land Walroots, nope, Spyglass Siren, okay, that's fine, you can have that. Prismatic Vista, also fine. Remember, we did take all of the Harbingers out of the deck, so I don't really care if they... Aww, I was using that. Okay, so there's the island that I was looking for before, and I think I'm actually just supposed to hold up Dismembers. Coiling Oracle, okay. Nothing I'm doing about that. Otawara on the table, that's pretty good. Don't love that for us. I am going to let that happen. We see a Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, not doing anything about that either. You got it. So I'm just going to untap here, play my Cavern. That's actually a pretty good draw. Cavern, naming Merfolk. And now let's start playing some Swimmy Boys, like my first friend, Lord of Atlantis. So we are still holding up Dismember. We still have Subtlety. If I need to put Sink into Stupor into play as a land to make Subtlety happen, I will certainly do that. And Stoneforge Mystic is going to resolve, but I am going to kill it at end of turn. If they get Cauldron, they got Shuko. Okay. So they probably attack with just this. They do. So I go down to 16. I'm in end of turn. I'm going to go down to 12 to kill the Stoneforge. And an island is an actively great draw. So now I have Sink into Stupor plus Dismember or Subtlety, and I'm pretty happy about either. So I finally get to start attacking. They're going to go down to 17. I kind of want to be on my P's and Q's about my life total over the next few turns. But with 3 good responses here, I can't really complain too much. There's a Hedge Maze, okay. And they keep whatever that is on top. Honestly, seeing Surveil lands keep cards on top is always pretty terrifying, not gonna lie. What's this? What's this? It's Nadu everywhere. What's this? Anyway, that was fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and hard cast a Subtlety. And I think I would... Oh, they had the Flare Denial. Oh, okay. Fine. Sad. So they're gonna get to resolve that. And they had the Shuko in hand already. Christ. Alright. Oh, God. They're drawing a minimum of 4 cards this turn. I think I want to just go into game 3. Game 3. I'm going to take out the Curse Totems on the play. I'm going to put in Brazen Bower and Flare of Denial, number 3. And we are simply going to run it back otherwise. All right. So let's go ahead and be on the play here. And this hand is going right back in favor of this one. Cool. So I'm going to keep this. And the card I want least is actually probably the Subtlety, right? Like Dismember a thing, Aether Vial, Sink into Stupor, or Tidebinder on 3. And Subtlety doesn't do anything until 4. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm in for that. And our opponent has also mulled to 6. So let's see if they want to pick your poison on the Aether Vial again or no. If they do, I honestly don't even think I'm that sad about it. I mean, a little sad, obviously. I'm playing Aether Vial. But looks like my Vial is going to survive. Cool. Good start. Flare of Denial is fine. It is not excellent yet, but if I draw a land, I will be really happy to have access to any of Flare or Sink or Tidebinder with mana. Like, all of those things will make me pretty happy. They kept whatever the thing was again. They do, in fact, have the Pick Your Poison. That's gonna happen, sure. So now if I don't draw a land, I am going to put Sink into Stupor into play as a land. Yes, I will pay to 3 life. And if I'm going to be able to snipe their fetch land, I will do that. All right. We have done the legacy thing. So that's actually really good for me too, because now they can't cast a fairy or whatchamacallit, or Nadu. And next turn, that sucks. But I do have access to Flare of Denial, Subtlety, Dismember. Like, I've got all of the stuff here now. So let's see if they get Shuko or... Nope, they got Cauldra. Okay, so now I want to draw a land. A land allows me to hold... Yes. It allows me to kill this Stoneforge Mystic and hold up Flare of Denial at the same time. So this way, I can Flare of Denial their next spell, untap, Subtlety the spell after that, all while attacking with Tidebinder. So that feels pretty good if that's what we're allowed to do. Which probably means I'm countering pretty much anything they cast right now. Do I walk into the stupid Veil of Summer? I think the answer is yes. Oh, shit, no Veil of Summer. Okay, Siren's fine. Siren is less annoying. Oh, that's really good, actually. Siren's less annoying than other things could be, so I'll take it. So if they just put the map token on Siren, I'm pretty okay with that. Even if it's a 2/2. They find Pick Your Poison, which is obnoxious because it can get rid of this. It would have been if they had put it in a graveyard. Okay. Ooh. I'm going to untap. A Tide Shaper. Do I care about that? No? No. Do I bother? No, I can wait for a Lord. I don't need to press any buttons. Like, I could have just played Tide Shaper and then held up Flare of Denial. And honestly, that might have been a better use of my mana. I think I am going to Subtlety this one because I just want to like be using my mana here. Yeah, I like just using my mana here. And I can still Flare of Denial. Oh shit. Just evoke, not actual anything else with 2 cards in hand. Do I Flare of Denial away the Tidebinder? No, I'm just gonna let them do this. So they can go ahead and do the Subtlety. That's fine. Oh, that feels bad. Shit. All right, I have to Flare of Denial this away. So I'll do this, getting rid of this. And now I just have like a lonely Tide Shaper for next turn. That does not feel great. So I'm going to go ahead and take this too. Can't do much about that. Let's see what the top deck is here. A Master. That is actively very good. So I'm going to do this because I don't mind if they counter this one. It doesn't actually matter, I guess. So I'll just do this. And we'll play around Mystical Dispute by using the Master as the Cavern one. So now I've got a better clock than they have, but I could be in some very real danger depending on what happens this next turn. So they can go ahead, explore now on the Little Siren to try to make it a 2/2. It works. They find a Springheart Nantuko. And this is still unblockable though. So If I find a Lord, I'm very happy with my ability to double Island Walk creature. If I find, I don't know, like a Sphaloon, I'm still okay. A Subtlety's basically optimal. A Tidebinder is not bad. Actually, no, I'll scratch that. A Tidebinder is actively good and lethal. What the hell am I talking about? There's a Nadu, which I don't care about. Perfect. Because now I'm just going to get to put in an uncounterable Tidebinder and attack for lethal. Yeah, that seems great. Yeah, I was going to say, you may as well attack for both, because, like, you can't block. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to take this 2, go down to 10, and then EOT be very happy about having a Tidebinder in hand. Uncounterable, just in case of Flare of Denial. No actions to mess up, so now we untap and attack with the 2 Island Walk creatures. And there it is, 5-0. Let's go! All right, and there you have it. So we finally got to play a league with Merfolk, and we closed it out with the perfect 5-0. So we did have some matchups that we really expected, right? Like, we thought the Eldrazi Tron thing was going to come up, so we were pretty happy to play a list with 4 Tideshapers and 4 Harbingers. We played against Merfolk, and remember the time we talked about on the previous video where I shaved 2 Lord of Atlantis in case of the Merfolk mirror because we don't want to accidentally bop ourselves. And sure enough, when we came across the Merfolk matchup, we got to draw a bunch of cards that were not named Lord of Atlantis, so we never had to accidentally give our opponents Island Walk. So that worked out quite nicely. And we had the 4X Tidebinders in the sideboard, which did a lot of really good work against the Nadu decks. So these are all things that we just like really wanted to come across when we were building this deck. And sure enough, the popular matchups came up and we won them all. So overall, great stuff, happy times, high fives. But, well, let me know about what you think about Merfolk. Drop it down in the comments, whatever you're doing with Merfolk, or if you're simply playing something else in Modern right now, thanks to the Modern Horizons 3 cards, what are you playing? But that is going to be it for today's video. As always, if you like what you're watching, make sure to click like, let me know, subscribe if you're new. We just hit 2,000 people, and we'd love to hit 2,000 more. And I'll see y'all on the next one.